Like maybe if there's like a specifically really interesting one that I want to look at, sure, I'm willing to open Quackle and go do that. But I'm kind of like Nigel in that regard, where it's like once the game's done, the
Let
game's
it
just
go.
kind of
Yeah.
done. You know, I know how Quackle thinks. I kind of know what to expect. So if I truly think I'm playing that badly, then maybe if I just need the reinforcement that I'm playing that badly. Otherwise, it's kind of like, just play the letters in front of you, and then if you do it enough times, probably maybe win. So
That is a very healthy and balanced viewpoint, and I will simply have to aspire to get to that point. Oh man, look at this! Holy
yeah.
crap!
So is this Dave or Dr. Bing, Dave Wiegand? You'll hear us refer to him as Dr. Bing this game, I think, since we have two Daves. Um,
Yeah,
basically, his second time drawing a blank on his first turn on table one. Is it Jekhez or Hekhez? Will is also a national champion, though. So while, yes, winning nationals definitely mellowed me out, as it did, say, probably Dave Wiegand and some other people, it doesn't hold up when we consider that Will himself is also a national champion.
yeah. I mean, the national championness that makes me feel less anxious at nationals, I guess. But I do feel like my journey as a Scrabble player doesn't just stop because I've won nationals. I feel like I'm always like the compulsiveness behind running off and checking my games right after I play them that's not going to change because it's born from an idea of I want to learn as much as possible from games that confused me or gave me trouble in some way, shape, or form. So when I have a particular game, especially one that I lost, where I say to myself, man, there must have been something I can learn from in this game and do better in the future. It makes me want to go do that. And whether or not I won nationals or whatever my rating is or any of that stuff, I don't care. I feel like winning the nationals is great, but that doesn't mean that I've ascended the mountaintop and there's nothing more to learn or that I'm some perfect player. So that's kind of my mindset behind the compulsion. So anyway, back to this game. When I saw Dave's rack, I was sure there would be some 7-letter word or something in here, but I guess after looking more carefully, there isn't anything. So he's gonna just play pause. Yeah.
And there's not even like a 48-point Z word or something that you would expect for sure.
Unless burning the blank, which you're not gonna do here.
No.
So
yeah.
I'm surprised by that.
Yeah, pause for 28 after your opponent exchanges 5 or whatever, leaving 8 ER blank. Still a great position to be in.
Pause champ.
Yes.
So yeah. Oh, and Dave
Pausers.
Pausers. So Dave plays his Z, but then draws a J back again. We've mentioned this a number of times. The J, you might be happy to see the J sometimes when there's a big spot next to an O or an A, but when you're bingoing, it's not as good. But I think he may be able. Well, it depends on what Dave plays, I guess. We'll just see. But
so think about this: if you swapped out the Z from last rack with the J from this rack, he has 7s on both. I mean, obviously, he has Pejorate here, which was found.
Oh,
but,
that's so funny.
Jeopard for 1 million last turn, Trapeze for 1 million this turn, etc.
Yeah. So those higher scoring tiles, certainly when you have a blank to go with them, your chances of bingoing are not 0. But your choices will be restricted quite a bit. It's going to be hard to find longer words. But in this particular case, as you said, swapping those power tiles one for another, Dave's timing just a little bit off. He would have had bingos in both cases. So yeah, we'll see. Pejorate is not a bingo that makes me feel really excited, though.
No, definitely not.
I'm not loving that as like a bingo that makes me feel great.
Yeah, I mean, the odds of him playing Pejorate next turn are about 0, right?
Yeah, surely we'll see some underlap of the Z that blocks that here. There's almost I can't imagine that Dave. I mean, the issue for Dave is Dave Koenig, I should say Koenig and Wiegand for the duration of this game. So Dave K is probably seeing something like web to go underneath pause, but that leaves him with IITT, which doesn't feel very nice. So I'm not 100% sure which direction to go here for Koenig, but surely, as you say, whatever he plays will block Pejorate.
Yeah. I mean, if you're in Dave's shoes, really, you see the J and you're like, really, the first thing you do think is pause champs.
Wow, this was not on my radar as a play, but maybe this is okay, actually. This is a weird choice. I guess I'm wondering.
I mean, it's not a bad play, I don't think.
I'm thinking my first instinct was like, wow, I don't like this. But I'm looking at it and I'm trying to say, like, well, is this really any worse than like Web or Wet or some of the other options? Maybe not. It's not a disaster. It doesn't, I mean, there's
Water Jet's going to come down immediately, but
oh yeah, okay. Well, that's not going to work out that well. But of course, Dave had a really good rack that Koenig was going to struggle to avoid some of the nastiness of that. So we're going to see a really nice play. It came down immediately. No surprise at all, at least in my mind, that Dave would already have been thinking about that as a potential play. Water Jet. That's just really that's classic Dave. That went down in what, 20 seconds?
Yeah, I mean, he was probably just confirming there was no double-double. What I do want to call out about Zibit is, probably from Koenig's perspective, is it looks like he's going to challenge Water Jet just to make sure it is a valid word, and it is a valid word. That when you see your opponent taking a really long time and then making a play like pause for 28, and for someone like Dave, who's someone like Dave Koenig, who is a chess master and has a background in mathematics and engineering, he's probably going to try to be making a read on what Dave could have kept after a play like pause, right? So it's possible he came to the conclusion that that's a pretty safe opening to only play downwards, save that whole top side of the board for later, and kind of let the game play out that way. So I don't know. Maybe that's what he was thinking. But all in all, not a bad play, IMO.
Yeah, it's a really interesting position where all the plays have major warts, right? So you're going to have to play something that when Dave played Zibet, when Koenig played Zibet, you're going to have to play something that feels slightly uninspiring in some way, shape, or form. And as you said, maybe that's the choice that makes the board that Koenig is most comfortable with long term. So.
Yeah.
All right, he plays Bow underneath Water Jet. That makes a lot of sense. Koenig had the B, the P, and the W. 2 of those 3 tiles definitely need to go on whatever the next turn. Yeah. Whatever you play on your turn there, I should say. And Bow does the trick, 31 points.
And I'm assuming Cager is going to come down very fast, as that accomplishes exactly what what Wiegand would want to accomplish here. Score a bunch of points. That lane is not that easy to use because it requires an E. And Dave already has the R to go with Ewer in the future. So
looks really good. Yeah, that's it's so interesting. Like, there are certain plays where the play that scores the most points and keeps the best leave, that combination, which we call equity in Scrabble. It's so nice when that play also has great positional attributes as well, right? Like if you can come up with those plays, and not only are they good for score, keeping good letters, but they perform some important function to the board. That's always like, as soon as you spot a play like that, you can just say, you know what, I'm playing this, and this is wonderful. So for Dave, this totally makes sense. He will be up to 148. Up by exactly 100 here, but Koenig's got some good letters, so we're very likely to see something.
I mean, interestingly, with how good that rack is, lots of bingos in there, I'm only seeing 1 bingo. Is that true?
Yeah, only playing through the eye of Zibet, and I think this will be Dave Koenig will see this bingo for sure. The only question is it possible that he will have another dragster moment where he doesn't think of overlaps? I really, really doubt it in this case. The eye of Zibet is much less obscured than the previous game with the Dragster. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say Koenig will find Epitasis here for 71. And when that happens, I think Dave's got pretty good letters. Does he have anything? Maybe not to go through
the S. I don't think so.
Not quite. It would really just be the S, I guess. So
Dave might think about playing ATS underneath Jet. Scores a lot, keeps a good lead. Probably not quite worth it, but amazing to score that many from that few. Just ATS score like 35.
Yeah, that's a very interesting thing to point out there.
So what do you think? Which placement of Epitasis? One scores more, the other one is positionally.
So the thing to note here, in my opinion, that makes this Epitasis that Dave is playing clearly superior is that after Dave plays this, not only is it two more points, but Dave Koenig is still going to be down by a pretty sizable amount, especially when you factor in that you're playing Dave Wiegand, somebody whose average play is 35 to 40 points. Yeah. So you can pretty much, a play like Cager could mean anything. I'm going to give Dave credit for, let's say, 35 points on his next turn on average. And that means after my bingo, if I'm Koenig, I'm still going to be facing a pretty big deficit. And look at the board after Epitasis in this positioning. You've got two S's to play to and a sevens line hooking PE. Those two lanes are critical, although we see that Koenig has drawn horrifically to his post-bingo draw. But ultimately, he needs that openness that this positioning of Epitasis gives him. So that's my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's depending upon who you are, you play the other one, right? If you're Wiegand, maybe you play the other spot.
Yes, totally. And there are situations where I might play the other spot. If I'm Dave Koenig, I'm looking across the board at me, and over there is sitting two-time national champion Dave Wiegand, and I'm saying, I'm on the ropes here. I'm down by 100 in this game. I need an open board, and I need some luck.
So I'm not surprised to see Odic coming down here. Desier is a double-double, certainly worth a look, as well as perhaps playing, all the way underneath with Seabid. But that neither of those really prevent the defense that I think Dave would like to play imminently. Now, it's worth noting that C is going to be a pain to block later on. So it's kind of it's a short-term gain for a longer-term question mark. But it's also possible that, hopefully you're winning by enough that you don't have to deal with that long-term variance that he's kind of making a trade-off for.
Yeah, and the C there as the final letter of an 8 is not as scary to me as putting a C out as the first letter of an 8. I feel like you're totally right that C is going to sit there unblocked basically the entire game now. Yeah. So that will allow, if Koenig gets into a situation where he has, now it's getting blocked. I don't like this.
I think play. That's not. I think he's probably going to look at this for a bit. I would think. No, he's just going to go ahead and play it. I don't.
Yeah, so a couple things here. He does get 14 points for that, which is nice. However, he also blocks that long-term threat that we just said is going to stay open forever, and he keeps OOU, which is just no way to start your next path forward in this game.
Yeah, if he's keeping a good lead, sure, that's a nice way to ensure that top right part of the board is going to be open this game. But not when you're leaving OOU. I mean, exchanging.
Yeah, gotta exchange there. But just to go back to Dave's play of Odic versus Desier as a double-double, it's definitely nice for Dave to start his next rack with a leave of EER after Odic, just knowing if he draws a bingo, a 7-letter word ending in R, it's going to play with per on this board. So he did one better than that, though. He's going to play Narians probably.
And don't forget, he played Cager setting up Ewer and Re. So
exactly,
he's also saving that power. Desier is just completely unneeded volatility. There's just no reason to do it.
So here comes Narines for 66 more points for Dave. That's going to bring him up more than 100 points clear of Koenig now. Sorry, I need to be more specific with my Daves. Wiegand 246, Koenig 133. And you can see, let's see what Wiegand draws here, because we know Koenig is sitting on pretty ugly stuff right now. All right, a bunch of vowels. Ooh, some potential here. Maybe here, out here. Not quite, I guess.
Yeah, almost. Yeah, here unto almost fits.
Yeah, well, a water jet.
Yeah, a water jet. It's the Japanese honorific. For,
yes, like Obento, exactly.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
As Mo Green pointing out.
The cool Mo.
Well, yeah, I guess compared to some, not all Mo Greens are. Are created equal, but this one's pretty cool. The H hook on Zibet is going to be a pretty crushing play here. It's going to also block a nice lane, right? Like Zibet's and the H hook there is technically still a threat as a bingo lane, and Dave's going to score a ton and just hammer that spot next turn.
Yeah. Looks like Dave's considering playing Vogie. Which again, I mean, gets rid of all the crappy tiles, but
that also can't
block the board. So
but yeah. VOGUY is actually not. You have to have an E.
Sorry.
Rogi is the one. Why? I don't understand. I don't know why that is the case, but it happens to be the case.
I was thinking of VOUGY, which is VOUG, and just it's almost lunchtime. Streamers are allowed to be idiots too.
Yeah, no, it's totally fine. But this is this play Axon scores 33 for Dave Koenig and leaves GOUV. Wow, that's actually a relatively decent draw. Not that it gives him anything great just yet, but Dave drawing AEL to that leave is he's working his rack back into shape a little bit. But Dave is about to score Wiegand is about to score really well here.
Did you know Time No Guy? Or Tim Eno Guy? Where's Jesse Matthews when you need him?
What the heck? Timino Guy?
Time No Guy.
Time No Guy? I've never seen that word before. Amazing.
Brian Eno's brother.
Tim Eno Guy. Yeah. That's amazing. Definitely not familiar with that word, and I guess we're just querying which words end in guy because we're talking about Vogie, right? So anyway, okay, Dave.
There's here out.
Yeah, here out. I hope Dave Wiegand doesn't get any ideas in his head to try this, right? He won't. He'll play here too.
Maybe he's gonna play a there out and Pozu, which would be a Japanese. Almost. I think it's a name. I think it's a name. Yeah. But not Ponzu.
So Dave. Okay, Wiegand has here too set up on his rack. He's gonna play it with Zibeth and score 50 points in that spot. He'll leave a U, which is not ideal, but you're gonna do that for 50 points.
Yeah. It's also worth noting, Wiegand being a good friend of streamers and many people in the chat. He would totally troll us. As we saw with Melatonin earlier, he put it on his rack. That was not to show the stream how great he was, but just to get the stream kind of excited. Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if he did hear out completely as a troll.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with that. Dave is kind of a wry, sarcastic humor guy. He's one of the funnier, he's actually very funny now that I've gotten to know him better. Not in the way of Chris Farley. But more subtle. What is he? What's he thinking here?
Other all the way to Joe.
Oh, okay, interesting. Got it. So not hitting the double word score, but that's interesting. I wonder if that is that any better? I feel like the interesting thing about other is that it offers no overlaps at all, whereas hetero and here too have pretty damaging underlaps and overlaps. right?
Yeah,
Like
well,
the
yeah.
consonant vowel consonant. Okay. Other still does make this pretty big spot. So
Yeah, but it's not. It will give back more,
true.
right? That underlap is easier, but the underlap will score a little less, maybe be a bit more frequent,
Wow.
but offer more back.
That is so. Oh man, that's really high level stuff right there.
Yeah.
To be thinking at that level of depth. Um, I'm so impressed by that. Just the idea that there are fewer overlaps possible now after this. There were way more after hetero are here too. And any play that Dave might have, that Koenig will have underneath the ER of other, will give a triple back almost by necessity.
So Dave is
Okay.
not going to play Avulsh.
Yeah,
We'll just play
good call by
Vulsh.
him not to do that, or to play Voulage or something like
Yeah,
that. He
Vulsh.
plays Voulge.
Louvage.
So Koenig up to 196, Wiegand at 295 after his very heavy play of other with that H hook.
Yeah.
Really strong play. You just draw, what is that, a K? Okay.
Yeah.
So wow, Dave Wiegand can play something like unmake parallel to Yannick if he wants to do that and score a boatload of points there.
Yeah.
Um,
It does offer a bit of risk, but
certainly.
I mean, obviously we know that it won't matter, but
Yeah, in this situation, though, the score being what it is, we've seen this as a recurring theme, right? There are certain plays where if the score was even, I would play unmake in a heartbeat here. But given that unmake scores 43 points and the best that you can do playing in other spots, well, maybe.
but here's the thing. If you go and look at the standings, Rashid is in first place right now. His spread is quite low at plus 330, 388. Dave Koenig has the biggest spread, so this is a chance to take some kind of tie aside. But Austin also hanging around there with 710, so this could be a time where you really want to go for spread, because getting to my point is that Dave Wiegand's spread is only plus 233.
So would that make you likelier to go for unmake or something in the triple triple, or would it make you likelier to play something like Umiak off of the R of other?
I mean, I would say, like, everything aside, I'm more willing to take some short-term risk if it means that
you win the game
term,
by more most of the time. Yeah.
In this case, Umiak is one play. Mink also very solid. You probably don't need to open the triple here.
Yeah, the Q is also lurking unseen, so maybe keeping the U as the game continues. Let me actually get that tracking and show you guys what we are actually looking at here, what Dave is looking at. Might help to put his play into context. Okay, should be ready with that. So the Q is still lurking, keeping the U is going to start to... The U is obviously never a wonderful tile in general cases, but as the game wears on and the Q has yet to make its appearance, keeping the U starts to make more sense. And wow, you can see Dave is sort of acknowledging that. I'm sure he saw unmake in that same spot. Instead, he's going to play mink for 2 fewer points, leaving AU. And let's see if he's rewarded for this by picking the Q here, because I think I like this. This is like a good intermediate playing a lot of points in this spot without opening the nightmare scenario of losing the game. And Dave draws not the Q, certainly, another U and a V to go with it. So yeah, that's okay.
And funny enough, on Koenig's side, an open Q would be great.
I know.
That would be the rack saver, but it looks like he'll probably just go ahead and fish off. Yeah, a reasonable play to fish off UI. And try to go for a bingo next turn.
Yeah, that seems like a totally normal play for Dave Koenig, who, again, his winning chances here are pretty low. Unless, I mean, it would be crazy. Obviously, well, had Dave Wiegand played unmake, how dangerous could a U be in 7th position there? No more dangerous than a W in 3rd position, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so... all right, hold on a sec. Let's get Dave's now what he's looking at here.
So, yeah, a bingo was drawn by Koenig. We'll see what he's able to do, though. However, won't be surprised to see Wiegand play some sort of defense here, given his kind of terrible tiles.
Oops. Sorry, Christian. Sorry. I'll get this fixed.
Yeah.
There. Should be fixed now.
Yeah. Almost adenosine, but unfortunately, wrong. Would need a second N instead of the S.
Yeah.
For those of you who like upside down boards, this is your moment to shine. Tell us what words you're finding that you wouldn't have found otherwise.
Yeah, I've never been capable of playing upside down. I have a lot of respect for those that have that ability.
I enjoy it. I don't actually do it, but I do enjoy it.
Do you think it does anything to throw your opponent off at all, or do you think it helps your opponent unnecessarily?
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, if someone is really bad at playing upside down, then obviously having the board facing you the entire game is nice. In my case, I think I just happened to grow up playing the game in an area where there were lots of people who play upside down. The late great Lester Schonbrun, Bruce Ward, Isaac Apindi, all the experts I grew up playing against played upside down.
Happened to do that. Interesting.
So yeah.
So Dave plays duh. I was wondering for a second if there was any chance that Dave was gonna set his D up by playing duh, right? Which would have
ended very poorly.
Very bad news. Yeah, as Dave does. RTRB in the chat. Koenig's rack looks like there's a bingo somehow. You're absolutely right. Your spider sense that there is a bingo in there is correct. That is the bingo. So had Dave played just UH, leaving the D off, this play of aniseed would have gone down on the top row, making duh. For a lot of points, Koenig still would have been down by quite a bit, but for Dave Wiegand's quest to get some of his missing spread back, that wouldn't have gone well for him there. So, oh, look at that. Nice idea. I think this is almost, throwing in the towel a little bit for Koenig in terms of winning the game, which he's really not likely to win this game no matter what. But teased for 36, I think that's pretty reasonable idea.
I think it's a good idea. I mean, first, there's only one I, one N, and no E's left. The S does not have that much of a benefit here in the sense of it's a great tile, but you're not really going to end with an S. You're more likely to end with, say, the D. And this allows him to keep scoring on that quest to get a bingo. So I do like the idea here.
Yep. So Dave, I have to imagine, is about to play quad here through the U of Volge. I can't imagine what else he will play. Just that U sitting right there next to the double letter score, the entire word being on the double word score, definitely going to jump out. Anytime you have that Q, it becomes the focal point of your decision-making process. How can I use this Q, get it off the rack? Any open U like that is going to be, Dave's going to play quad for sure. Easily the best choice for him here, I think.
Yeah. And Koenig almost did, in fact, draw a bingo because the pool was playing well to his EIN leave. But here, I mean, we're either going to probably see just dropping the F for 20 very quickly, or perhaps this is...
I got to say, this is me operating Quackle behind the scenes. I wish I could say that I saw this myself.
Oh my God. Oh, wait.
There is an amazing play available here. It's not going to secure Dave Koenig the win in this game, but if he finds this would be like a play of the stream type play.
Yeah, it's not what I thought it was, so I'll keep looking.
Let me just get the tracking right. So Flinted scores 36, is a pretty solid play. You're not going to win this game if you're Dave Koenig. It's not a bingo. The play that I'm teasing here is not a bingo. It's not a 9-letter word, nothing like that. I will reveal in just a minute the best scoring play that Dave Koenig has on this turn. It's beautiful. It's so nice. These types of plays make me smile when I think about Scrabble. I would be astonished if this play is found. I would never find it. It's a totally regular word.
Would you have to be pretty reliant on board vision to find
You would
it?
you
Or...
would have to be highly
Yeah.
reliant on board
Yeah.
vision.
You have to be pretty reliant on board vision.
Correct. Yep.
We don't have to tell them that was a spoiler, right?
Well, I guess we can now. So the play that I'm referring to is through the A of epitasis. You can play reliant, making iotic as a hook. Yeah, you guys are, yep, 14 Domino says, is it an iotic word? You can play reliant, making bend and eat, hitting 2 double word scores, leaving your F over for next turn. Reliant in that spot scores 47 points. I don't think there's any, I mean, I don't imagine myself finding that ever. Maybe. I don't know.
I probably sound like a dick if I say I think I might find that, but
no, you don't. No, you don't. This is just not my strength. This is not my strength.
To be honest, I would probably play of and fa fairly quickly.
Yeah, I mean, in this situation, I think the game situation would do more for me. If this was a perfectly even game and the score of the game was 412 to 412, maybe I find it.
Yeah.
Maybe in that case, where I'm looking all around, I'm saying, man, I need as many points as I can get, or else I'm not going to beat Dave Wiegand here. I might consider it then, but not in this situation. I'm down. If I'm in Koenig's shoes, I'm down by 160 odd points or more. You know, I don't imagine myself seeing that there. So let's hope. I would be so chuffed to see this play.
Yeah, and as Jello Mochas points out, reliant still remains if you play of now.
True. So if you play, you could play of in the O and A spot next to Volge and Quad, right? And just fish for reliant. If you draw any tile, you will have.
Or better yet, fish off the R and just go for Alephiant right now.
There you go. Beautiful.
And we're going to teach you how to play Scrabble good.
Yeah. These are all plays that are pretty much completely well, of is not crazy.
Oh, no, of is perfectly reasonable.
But that,
I don't, yeah.
Yeah, that previous suggestion is just for the lulz. So yeah, Dave Koenig is doing his, just making sure he's using his time productively. But this is, I mean, I would probably be throwing in the towel and playing flinted here, or I would just pop my F down.
Yeah, I would play of. There's still tiles, he knows that he can draw to get another bingo down next turn. It's not like super likely, but it's a pretty clear path forward. And with the A being the most unseen tile to him, certainly, as we know, Dave has most of them, but we shall see. If he draws the O.
Okay, he drew the A, as you predicted, as you suggested. That is a common draw that happens after this. So good idea by Koenig.
Yeah.
So there's a play of Va that blocks the D. I was just wondering if Dave was going to see Vayward to the D. Right, he could have potentially scored a few more points there. I would say if that's a mistake, it's a very, very microscopic one. But theoretically, I would probably play Vayward there if I see it. So that word being spelled like this. And Dave's going to bingo here. Koenig will bingo to trim the deficit slightly.
And it looks like there's a pretty good chance he's going to pick up a blank and a full rack, but not very good tiles otherwise. So it's going to be hard for him to say, draw another bingo out of the bag or something.
Got it. So the bat, that's going to empty the bag here. I see. Yeah. So that's it. Bag is out, and we're going to see Koenig draw that second blank as you suggested, and have a bunch of weird consonants to go with it too. So, man, pretty a lot more stuff to cut our teeth into in these games here. Some really interesting positions again. I just think Dave Wiegand is going to be tough when he's drawing and playing so well. It's hard to point to a single mistake that he made. Paz, Waterjet, Cager, Odic, Narines, Other, Mink. These are all perfectly good plays. It took until Vaw. Maybe that's the tiniest mistake, if anything, but that's completely meaningless at that point in the game. So Dave Wiegand appears to be in very good form, in my opinion. And not that Koenig is, hopelessly outmatched or anything like that, but he just drew kind of poorly. I would say Yannick was also an inflection point where maybe he saves himself some of those, the 3-turn sequence of Yannick, Axon, Volge. He could have avoided that with an exchange a lot of the time there. If I was going to point to an issue that I had with any of Dave Koenig's plays, but really he just didn't draw very well.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically it. We're talking about maybe a 1% chance versus a 0.1% chance.
For sure.
So not much you were going to do. I do see that Dave Koenig could play something that you're now familiar with that is very relevant to my life, which is Figma.
That's right. A beautiful sort of UX sort of art tool, I guess. I'm not sure how I would describe it.
Interface design tool that I would assume was very instrumental in the creation of a Scrabble web. I would think.
Yeah, there are Figmas for Scrabble web for sure. I have seen. I can confirm.
Yeah. Lukeman, you did in fact miss Rashid on stream.
Yeah, you missed. Oh man, Lukeman, you missed.
He's played 2 games already.
You missed Rashid come back from 140 points down against Dave Koenig in the previous game with an epic triple. Right now, that's probably the highlight of today's stream. That was a shocking turn of events in that game. All right, Dave plays Alular. I think we saw Alula as well at some point. Or no, that might have been on one of my own streams. So Fisty the play for Dave Koenig, and that is the best play for him in this endgame. Good job. So very, very disciplined play by Koenig to make his best endgame play, and Dave Wiegand is about to finish this game off. Let's see what he ends up playing, and he plays his best play as well. So good endgame playing on both sides, and the final score is going to be 488 to Dave Wiegand, a much-needed win for him to move up to 8-4. And Dave Koenig loses again. He lost in both of the last 2 games, but he is still firmly in the mix at 7-4-1.